doing, everybody? This is Sleep, member of Memes and Dreams and Quantum of Robocraft talking to you, and I had originally planned to upload a build video today, but I knew AV8 was coming out. I didn't expect it to be an actual balance update, so we're going to go over some patch notes today. That build video I had planned will go up on Tuesday, so come back on Tuesday if you want to see that. This changes, these balance changes were based off that last community feedback form we had, the massive, 70-page one. Not a whole lot got done with that, surprisingly. But we're going to go through it, and I'll break it down. I'll tell you what I think it means and all the usual stuff we do on these videos. So first and most importantly, 8v8 is live for the weekend. Cool. I've already seen screen caps of there being 5 AI on each team. So, if you get a full 8-person versus 8-person match, it's probably really fun. 3 people versus 5 AI. 3v3 with 5 AI on each team, that's not good, man. I can't believe I've already seen that. I'd hoped it wouldn't happen. I begged for it, but free jam is free jam. Why are we doing this? Because people are like, yo, dude, game's boring. We need bigger teams so that these 5-mans can't run the show. And free jam was like, you know what? We'll try it. We'll try it. And I'm glad they're trying it. I don't like the way they're trying it. So TDM had a kill limit increase, obviously, with more players. You need to have more kill cushion. So it's gone back up to 25. It used to be at 25, if you remember from last year, before it went down to 15 because people complained they were being stuck in matches too long. So now we're up to 25 for AV8. It will end on the 22nd, right? Today is the 18th. You have 4 days. Don't know when on the 22nd it's going to end. If it's going to end on their time, like midnight, or our time, like midnight, who knows? Free Gem doesn't say. Expect to only be able to really play it through the 21st. Weapon changes. Laser, no change. Great. The best gun in the game, no change. Yeah, I've changed my tune. I think that M.a.s.h, after playing around with meta now for a couple of weeks, M.a.s.h is better than Mega Rail in almost every situation now because of the fire rate nerf that Rail got. In that March 28th patch. Really, really hurt it. Plasma, nerf and damage per shot. I mean, ground is still unplayable. This doesn't change that. Rail, no changes. Yeah, Rail's in a pretty okay spot right now. I agree with that. It's kind of sucky that Rail went from being on top of the world to getting, was it 2 or 3 rate of fire nerfs, and it brought it straight back in line. It's still very good, still the second best gun in the game. Not king of the world anymore. M.a.s.h once again reigns supreme. Now we've got Nano as well getting a buff. This is what I don't get. We're buffing the health of all these cubes. So we're increasing time to kill. We're nerfing damage on guns because they're killing stuff too fast. But we keep buffing Nano because reasons? It's gonna become Nano Circle meta. It was already Nano Circle meta. You gave another buff. I like the projectile speed one because I didn't like the fact that Nanos had a % to just randomly miss. But this energy per shot buff, why? Well, it's the one buff I'm telling you not to do with Nanos, and you keep doing it. Nanos are already meta, dude. They're already being used by 5-mans in Clan v Clans. All you have to do is watch some of my videos. You can watch them. I'll have a card right above my head of a 4v4 clan matchup where we destroyed them because I had Nano. Because my team had Nano. It's already meta. Don't make it more meta. Arrow Flak, a massive buff. This is the stupidest thing to me. Don't buff damage per stack. Buff the initial damage, because Arrow Flak, if the odds are if they hit 2 or 3 stacks, you're already dead anyway. But most of the time, all Arrow Flak's going to get is the initial shot. Maybe one more. Because Flak is weird, and most good players can play around Flak. Flak is good. It was good before, We had experimented with it. Obviously, Scoffers thought it was great because they ran it like twice on every team that we ran into. But Flak got a huge buff all around, 5% on everything. That's going to amount to Flak being pretty okay. It'll probably find a way to become relevant more on 5-mans, but for now it's in a very good position. Proto Seeker got a buff for the actual Proto Seeker. Not Lommel, right? T3 Seeker is Proto Seeker. That got a buff, which is good because it shot peas and it used a crap ton of energy to do it, so it got a buff. I approve. Ion got a fairly large buff, 10% increase efficiency with energy, essentially, and that's big. That's a nice buff. Ion is still mediocre because you have to get in someone's face to use it, but Singh used an Ion Heli and was called a Flying Piranha for it, so who knows. Chain Gun got a buff again, so we're finally seeing some Chain Gun buffs. Increased damage per shot. So we've had back-to-back increased damage per shots. This actually might be very, very impactful. Chain Gun, I think, might become meta now. Not a whole lot. Maybe just for BA, because on planes, you still just get shredded before you can do anything with it. That's just because of how weak planes themselves are, not the gun. And at range, Chain is kind of mediocre, so you need something that forces you to interact close. BA does that. Chain's going to be probably very good in BA. I would very much, if you play Battle Arena, look out for Chain Gun, experiment with it yourself, especially if you've got it leveled up. This is a very nice buff for Chain. It also increased the shots per second again, so very nice DPS increase for Chain. It might, this should bring it in line. I don't use Chain. Someone will have to tell me how it feels. I've played against Chain. It still felt a little weak before this update. Maybe this will help it feel kind of up to snuff. Mortar got buffed. I don't know what to say. It's Mortar. It got a buff. Mortar was already very good in ground v ground situations. The problem with Mortar has been that when it's got such a big hitbox, you can't really build around it. And obviously people pair Flak with Mortar. Both of those, that combo got a very big buff in this patch. Look out for Mortar again if you play BA. Look out for Flak and Mortar. That's probably very good now in BA again. It kind of sucked for a while, and it's very good because as we get down to these movement movement changes, something got a very big nerf. Tesla got a buff. Tesla feels still like crap because you can't really use a drone to kill people with Tesla anymore because drones have been dead forever now. So Tesla's in a weird spot. Alright, movement. Wheels, buff, buff, buff. You still died of Plasma. You still died of Mortar. Wheels are not that great. Tank tracks. Increased agility. Did they increase grip? Someone tell me in the comments, can I go up a hill with the tank track yet? Taylor, you use tank tracks. Are they good yet? I don't know. Mech legs. Yeah. Yeah, a very interesting change here. So, Pogos are now awful, which sucks because we had that Pogo Go Gimp Go. That was a fun bot. Mech legs are awful now. No, mech legs are fine. Just whenever you lose them, it's going to be kind of bad. So, if you were using pure mechs before with only 2 legs, you're probably going to look at tripod builds now. Because that movement speed decrease is massive. You went from being at 75% speed to being at 50%, so you're now losing half of your actual mobility whenever you lose a leg. Very annoying, especially at higher levels of play where people just shoot out your legs. Especially if you use big legs. I've shot out many mech legs before, and I will continue to do so because it's very effective. Sprinter legs got buffs. And 1 nerf, but don't worry about the nerf. The nerf is the same as the mech leg nerf. Obviously, you couldn't do this to one without doing it to the other. So they got a health buff, I believe. No, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I am less dexic. So it's a 5% buff to speed, So now they were at 187. They're probably close to 200. They're probably not at 200, but they're close. They buffed the agility and buffed the jump height, this jump height was really actually annoying. You might know the clan Omega Warriors. We are good friends with them in Quantum. And they use, all their bots use Carbon 6 sprinter legs. And I was trying to make a Quantum Omega, and the jump height when I was testing it, you would like barely get off the ground. It was awful. So maybe this helps. I'll have to actually like see it and move around with it, but hopefully that fixed it where you don't just barely hop anymore. Yeah. We get down here. This is the big one, the rotors at the bottom. Don't read those yet. Insect legs, buff in every area. They needed it. They still suck. You still die to plasma. Whenever you jump, you die to SMG. Don't use insect legs. Like, ever. Skis, have you played a sled freejam? They need to be able to turn. And they need to be fast and light, and you made thrusters heavy, which made skis heavy, which made skis not good. And they died to plasma. So, yeah, kind of sucks. Hovers, I have not experimented with this agility buff. I still don't know if they fixed the center of mass issue. Someone can tell me. I have no idea. It looks like they're trying to bring hovers slowly back. They got a buff on carry mass. I don't agree with this across all tiers. I think this should be an exponential buff the higher tier you get. Because as many of you might know, I complain a lot about small hovers and how much mass they can carry. Hell, in my my meta heli that you saw me use against Spectrum in both of those videos, I'm using one tier 2 heli. I'm using one tier 2 hover. And when I lose all 4 rotors, that bot only weighs about 5k kilograms. No, it weighs 4k kilograms. That hover might not be able to pick it up, but I can slide across the ground. I can still move with that, which is nuts. Like, that's why I don't agree with this at all. I shouldn't be able to move with just one of those small hovers in that bot. Rotors. So, helis were the only thing that was, like, meta, right? Because they were the only thing that was agile. And instead of, like, making stuff better and up to snuff with helis, like what they should have done, they just nerfed them. And I don't know why. So, they get a nerf in top speed. So, we were going at 180. Now we're going to go at, what? I don't know, 172? Something similar to that. I'm bad at math, dude. Don't ask me these questions. Decreased agility. I have not played it. I don't know. I'm only going to guess that it's similar to the last agility nerf. Ugh. If you've played a mech heli, after the March 28th patch, that thing handles like poo-poo, or it handled like poo-poo in the air. They nerfed it again, so I imagine it feels even worse in the air. And my pure helis, my pure TX helis, probably feel like garbage too. I don't know yet. Find out on Tuesday. But this is ridiculous. They nerfed carry mass. I still don't understand how you do your carry mass with these rotors freejam. It's not additive, right? So if I have, 4 tier 4 rotors, each one of those, before this at least, had a 5k kilogram carry mass. It did not add. So I was still stuck at that optimum carry mass being 5k. Instead of it being, 20k. No, it was still 5k. And that's why people got mad. You could lose, 3 of your 4 rotors and still fly perfectly. It's because the carry mass wasn't additive. It was just there. Awful. Awful. Fix that, freejam. Please. Make it make sense. Wings. Buff, 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 buff. They're still mediocre. And I say that because they're still sky cars. Which means they still just handle like poo. And they die a lot. Don't play planes. Rudders. You use them on hovers because otherwise your hovers just flip. And they got a buff. So, yay. I don't even know if guppy planes are still a thing. They used to be. Guppy planes used rudders. So if you're building guppy planes, good for you, man. Thrusters got buff. Good, not good enough. Their mass is still too much. Like, actually still too much. So they go faster, and they have reduced spin-up time. Same thing with props. Props, I don't know why we're buffing. Props were fine. Their mass was a bit heavy, but props were fine. I don't know if I'll notice this buff, to be honest. And then we got some additional changes. They just threw these in here. Heavy cubes got buffed. Freejam, have you played your low tiers? Obviously you have, right? I think it was in the One Mind Discord. Someone ran into one of your devs in like tier 2. Okay, so you've played it. Do you understand how bad the time to kill in those tiers are? They're talking 3 to 4 energy bars. Full recharge and drain energy bars to get a kill. And you're making a cube that you, in the last patch, made accessible at tier 1. You're making that cube better in those low tiers. So, mechs in tier 2, which can have 2k CPU, are going to now have 5% more health per cube. That's nuts to me. That's nuts. Don't play low tiers. And if you do, don't expect anything great. Just expect to be shooting at the same thing over and over. Electro shields got a buff. Good. I use electro shields. It sucks for everybody who doesn't. I don't know why we're trying to make them meta. They're already pretty meta. You'll use some in almost every build now that's kind of good. Ghost module, blink module. These are some weird buffs, right? Blink module got a range increase. EMP also got a deploy range increase. Before you go doing this to EMP, right? Give us a targeter. Like, give us a targeter, please. If you've ever played Smite, they have this thing called Quick Cast, where you'll hold down a button, it'll show you where your ability is going to go, and then whenever you let go of the button, it fires. It shoots off the ability. Can we not do that with EMP? If I hold down the button for EMP, it should show me a circle, like with like a little projection, or just maybe just like a drawn, circle on the ground that moves whenever I move. Whenever I let go of that EMP button, it shoots it. Maybe, because no one that I've met has ever said, dude, EMP is really intuitive to aim. No, it's very clunky, and now you've made it weirder because it's got a range buff. I like the range buff, I just wish it was easier to aim for everybody. Ghost module, you can still hear it. You can still see it. Don't use Ghost. The bitch finder, window maker, weird buff. I agree with the buff, but weird buff. And that's all of the changes. So, brief recap, right? SMG did not get nerfed. Rail did not get nerfed. Plasma did get nerfed. Nano got buff. Flak got buff. Proto Seeker got a buff. Ion got a buff. Chain got a buff. Mortar got a buff. And Tesla got a buff. So we're buffing weapons. We're buffing cube health. We're nerfing movement. We're buffing modules. I don't know what the hell's going on in this game. I seriously don't. Your top tier, your top 3 weapons are still the basic 3. SMG, Rail, and Plasma in that order. After that, I would say it's Nano, then Flak, and then Chain for TDM. That changes for BA. I can't tell you BA meta. I don't play it. Movement parts, helis are probably still the only thing usable. If they're not, and air is well and truly dead, which would be amazing, mech helis would be, just because you'd still use rotors to get into proper positions. And if not, then it's just regular mechs, because they were the only other thing that was somewhat usable with the agility F equals MA overhaul, which has really, really killed a ton of diversity in meta. Like, a ton of it. But that's all I've got for you. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. Tell me what you think about the patch in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new around here, and click that bell icon so you don't miss a video. Now we'll catch you guys tomorrow for some Killing Floor 2. Take care.